Alright, since it's New Year's Eve, you guys are getting a video that you wouldn't normally get. So my whole life, I have absolutely loved decorating cake. And Amish don't decorate cake a lot, so I did not get the chance to do that very often. And this cake is special because it doesn't contain any of those bad sugars or flour. I got the recipe from my mom, and we're making it in a blender. And the actual reason we're making this is for New Year's Eve, because although Amish don't really celebrate New Year's, I've learned that it's pretty fun to do so since I left. Not only sweetener that comes in this cake is honey, and the base of the cake is black beans, and you add a bunch of eggs, and it's a chocolate cake, so of course we're also going to add cocoa. Now I'm making this in a 3-layer cake, and each batch of this cake makes 1 layer, so we're making this 3 times. Now once you have all of your ingredients in your blender, we're going to put it on here, and we're going to blend that up. Once that is blended smooth, take it off and pour it into your pan. Now we're going to pop this in the oven and bake it. And if you're making a layer cake, repeat it another 2 times. Once your cake is done baking, pull it out of the oven, and then we're going to let it cool down a little before we take it out of the pan. This cake has slightly cooled off now. Make sure the sides are all loose and then take it out. And I'm using a springform pan so it's easier. And I also put wax paper on the bottom here so I can just peel it off. Now we're going to set this aside and let it cool off completely before doing anything with it. And now while those cakes are all cooling off, we're going to make our icing. And I'm making the icing that's in the recipe with this cake in my cookbook. And this is also not a traditional icing recipe because it consists of maple syrup, butter, and cream cheese. You need to whisk that together, and I'm using my KitchenAid stand mixer that one of my wonderful followers sent me and my husband off of our wedding registry, and thank you very much for sending that. I have used it so often already. Once you have that all whisked together, it should look something like this. It's not going to be the consistency of regular icing, but it is going to be delicious. Then we're going to set that in the refrigerator until we're ready to use it. Now once all of your cake is cooled down, you're ready to start putting it on layers. And I'm not going to put any special kind of filling in between the layers. I'm just putting this icing in. This thing is all on layers now, and I gave it a crumb coat. And I'm going to stick this thing in the freezer for a little bit so the crumb coat can get cold. Okay, I just pulled this thing out of the freezer. And now because I don't want to serve this on this cutting board, I need to transfer it to this cardboard cake bottom that I have. So I'm going to put that on there. And we're going to flip it upside down. Now we're ready to finish frosting this thing. Alright, I have this all frosted now. It's as good as I'm going to make it. You have to remember that I did not have the chance to decorate cakes when I was growing up. So this cake is made with not a lot of practice. And I'm going to make it a clock cake. So now I'm putting numbers on it. And I made these numbers by using a number silicone mold and putting chocolate in. And then I brushed them with gold dust. And then I also have a homemade little arrow here. This is how it turned out. It's far from perfect, but I'm very pleased with how it looks. And since I don't want to cut into the cake right away, I'm just going to show you here what the texture of the cake is. It's really moist. It's really delicious. So let's put some frosting on this piece and eat it to see if it's any good. It's so good. And the fact that it's full of protein and no bad sugars or whatever, I always feel really good when I'm eating this. And if you want this complete recipe, it's under sugar-free chocolate cake in my Amish cookbook if you click the website link on my profile. Happy New Year's!